is weird, and the fact that nothing of significance passed between them. I mean, we're talking about two very senior politicians here. Surely whatever they were discussing, it must have been of some significance. Otherwise, what on earth are they messaging each other?
You get a text message saying, "I'm Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff of the White House. Are you having a nice day?" He goes, "Yeah, I am, thanks. I just had a great cup of tea."
Oh, it's like those LinkedIn recruitment messages, isn't it, that obviously sounded so unbelievably fake. Look, we've all been there, and actually I do think it shows that Andy Burnham is at least human.
I'm joined now by Cathy Adams, Travel News Features Editor for The Times and The Sunday Times. Hello, Cathy.
Hello.
Do you like the bagpipes? Do you like them perhaps more if they're in Vancouver?
I'd rather they're in Vancouver, yeah. I think bagpipes you should always be separated maybe 12 hours on a flight from.
Do you know, having moved when I went to university from Edinburgh to Cambridge, I nonetheless lived upstairs from the same 9 a.m. bagpipe player for 2 years.
Can't escape it.
He wasn't even Scottish. It drove me insane. Let's crack on. Well, we're starting with a slightly bizarre story this morning. According to Politico, Andy Burnham exchanged messages from somebody impersonating Donald Trump's Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. The government says it doesn't comment on national security matters, but the website says that Burnham became suspicious after a few messages. Nothing of significance passed between them. That's weird, isn't it?
It is weird, and the fact that nothing of significance passed between them. I mean, we're talking about two very senior politicians here. Surely whatever they were discussing, it must have been of some significance. Otherwise, what on earth are they messaging each other?
You get a text message saying, "I'm Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff of the White House. Are you having a nice day?" He goes, "Yeah, I am, thanks. I just had a great cup of tea."
Oh, it's like those LinkedIn recruitment messages, isn't it, that obviously sounded so unbelievably fake. Look, we've all been there, and actually I do think it shows that Andy Burnham is at least human, although I would be slightly worried about his WhatsApp security. Presumably it did take place over WhatsApp. I don't know.
You'd assume so. I mean, I've certainly texted the wrong person, but not while thinking they were the right person, if you see what I mean. You know,
yes.
It's always basically when you're talking about someone and you end up texting them, and it's
constantly. Although now you can obviously go back and delete your messages, which is very, very easy.
Yeah, but then you need to make up a lie about what you said before they deleted it. Well, yeah, look, you might think government security should stop this sort of thing from happening, but it has happened before. In 2024, someone pretending to be a former Ukrainian president got through to David Cameron when he was Foreign Secretary, and this is the impressionist John Culshaw, who remarkably got all the way through to Tony Blair via the Downing Street switchboard, pretending to be William Hague.
Good morning, Downing Street.
Hello there, it's William Hague. I just wondered if Tony was around.
Sorry, who's calling?
It's William Hague.
Hold on a moment. Just trying to find him for you.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Tony.
Yeah.
Hello there, it's William Hague.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd, just phone it for a chat. Say hello, see how you're getting on, that sort of thing.
It's quite a good imitation.
Oh, well done, Blair, for spotting that one in the end. Remarkable. That was John Culshaw phoning Tony Blair when he was at Downing Street, pretending to be William Hague. Astonishing. Cathy, let's crack on. Let's be 3 minutes past 10, and I'm still joined by Cathy Adams, the Travel News Features Editor for The Times and The Sunday Times. Cathy, wildfires continue across Europe. Fire services from the Mediterranean to the Midlands in the UK. Questions are being asked about Europe's ability to deal with continued heat waves. In Greece, in particular, an elderly couple died in fires on the Greek island of Salamis on Sunday. You've been looking at the travel advice. Look, if I'm listening to this and I'm due to fly to Greece next week for my summer holiday, should I be worried?
Okay, first of all, I would say no, not necessarily. I've been looking actually at figures from the EU, so they monitor wildfires throughout the continent all summer. And actually, this is quite interesting. So since the start of this year, there's actually been almost half the number of hectares burnt compared to last year, which was the worst year for wildfires on record. Whereas personally, covering this story kind of what feels like every day, it feels like they've been a lot worse this year. So, just to kind of add a little bit of balance here, they're not technically as bad as last year when compared by the EU. But in Greece in particular, their wildfire season runs from May to the end of October, so we aren't out of the woods yet. Obviously, there was that ginormous wildfire outside Athens, and that really was very serious, that burnt for sort of a week, and nobody could get control of it. It is now under control. There have been smaller wildfires on Rhodes, on Crete, on various islands. Salamina, I think the island is. I'd actually never heard of it. It sounds lovely. So very much looking forward to visiting, when everything's gone back to normal. But, the advice is, and we sort of take, the Foreign Office advice as our North Star, they are saying it's still absolutely fine to go to Greece, but there are obviously massive caveats here. Stay up to date immediately with what's going on. If your accommodation is affected in any way, then yes, you are due. I mean, just in terms of your rights, you are due a refund, or I don't know, definitely to be put in kind of an alternative accommodation. But at the moment, because it's so fast moving, it's also really hard to say what's going on. And I think anybody that does go to Greece sort of throughout this period, there is always a risk. And I think that's something that we're going to have to get used to.
I mean, one can imagine people in Greece, they're planning their holiday to Wales going, oh, should I still do that? You know, you mentioned the Greek 112 emergency system in your piece.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I've never had to use it, unfortunately, which is a very fortunate thing. But yeah, Greece has been very good in kind of setting up, emergency lines. And if you see one, if you're affected by one, then that's what these services are there for. And I think it's important that everybody knows that as well. And they exist in other countries as well. Spain has been very badly affected, France as well. So it's just a way to kind of, obviously keep people in the loop and also find out what you should be doing. But I just want to say that there are going to be wildfires, and I think it's important that we know where they are and keep abreast of them, but it shouldn't ruin your holiday. And, the person to speak to is your travel provider.
What happens if you've booked a holiday and then you just decide now you simply don't feel comfortable going there because of the fires? Can you get any money back? Is there any kind of insurance recourse there?
It's a really delicate balance, because wildfires are what insurance will term a known risk. So chances are that insurance policies won't cover if anything goes wrong. I mean, if you've booked your holiday separately, so you've booked a flight and you've booked accommodation, it's going to be hard to get anything back because your flight is probably still going to be running. And especially if you've booked a package holiday, which gives you kind of gold standard worth of protection, you deciding not to go because there may be a wildfire is not good enough to trigger a refund or a kind of alternative there. So if you just don't want to go to Greece because it's too hot, or you're worried about the wildfire, unfortunately that's going to be what we're going to call a disinclination to travel, and nothing is due. So it's not ideal. And, this is also why we've been talking about I hate the word coolcations, by the way. Can I just say it's such a terrible portmanteau, but holidays to places like Scandinavia.
Well, sure, because Southern Europe's been such a mainstay of sort of the summer holiday destination. This is starting to change.
It is, but it is only minor still. It's small demand. I mean, we are seeing kind of more interest in places like, Denmark, Finland, Norway, and that kind of northern European coast, like the Baltic coast, in Poland, Germany, Belgium, etc. It is still what I would call minority, and whenever I have conversations with airlines and holiday companies, they say, look, Cathy, this is not a thing. You guys are trying to make it a thing, but actually the bulk of bookings are still to Spain. And, my latest conversation with the Spanish Tourist Board, they're like, our numbers are up for this year. And that's quite staggering when you think about well-publicised wildfires and heat. I was in Spain a couple of weeks ago and it was 40 degrees. And that's actually just unbearable with small kids as well. It's just not a great place to be. But that's still what people are doing.
I just came back from South Germany, which admittedly is quite a lot further south than we are here. But it was like 36, 37 degrees there. But
that's
somehow
so unusual.
Still a lot better than being in London when it's 35, 36
nice
degrees.
Trees,
there's
trees.
Nice
there's
beer. Breeze. It's cooler in the shade. At night time it cools down, which is a thing I think we've almost forgotten about in the city.
For sure.
So it does make a bit of a difference. Well, maybe the coolcation will become a thing in the future. Lucky Scotland. Look, finally, a new workout trend in Newcastle is letting women combine fitness with fantasy by exercising with swords and shields. It's apparently inspired by the boom in romantasy novels. You might have heard the woman behind it speaking to Rosie and Stig on Breakfast a little bit earlier. Participants, Cathy, learned that enemy dragons have been spotted. They need to prepare to fight. Could you manage to do that without sniggering, do you think?
I don't think so. I've actually never read one of these romantasy novels, but I know they're incredibly popular. Look, I hate exercise. I just, for the record, I did actually go to the gym this morning, but I just think exercise is so boring and, awful. So anything I think that gets someone out of their comfort zone and doing something quite fun is good, and it might even distract me long enough to think, oh my God, this is really painful. So I'd give it a go. Yeah.
I discovered quite late in life that I actually really enjoy exercise. I just don't like sport.
Oh, you're one of those.
I always thought they were the same thing. Sport's just not for me. Exercise turns out I quite enjoy. Look, there's apparently a trend for unconventional fitness classes. I'm going to tell you a few of them. You can tell me whether you'd be keen or not. Right. Surf set. That combines balance and cardio on robotic surfboards.
Oh, no. Too much for the core. No.
There's a lot going on there. Right, okay. Prancercise. You have to mimic a horse.
Okay, yeah, I could do that. Sounds quite panto. Yeah, I'd do that.
Go on then.
What, right now?
No,
Too
you're
early,
all right.
Hugo, too early.
All right. Slasher-size, that's a horror-themed exercise
Oh,
class.
yeah.
I guess you're pretending,
well into that.
pretending you're Drew Barrymore
Sounds
running away
brilliant.
from a
Yeah,
man
absolutely.
in a mask. Yeah, that works. And something called boing, where participants put on a pair of bouncy rebounding shoes and jump around. That seems excellent.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Oh, I'd absolutely give that a go. Can I do that here?
I'd like to do that, but combine it with playing squash at the same time.
I mean,
Bouncy
that's
squash.
a full body workout, isn't it?
Bouncy squash. Let's invent it. Cathy Adams, thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Cathy Adams is, of course, the travel news features editor for The Times and The Sunday Times.